best news, sports, and information. It's What a Day with Joe Lowry.
Everybody, Joe Lowry, what a day. Happy Tuesday out there, Taco Tuesday. We're just one day away from tomorrow when all eyes will descend upon the TD Garden as the Boston Bruins take on the St. Louis Blues in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. It gets no better than this, folks. 7th games are the epitome of sports all over the spectrum. Now, the Bruins needed to take care of business the other night in St. Louis. They did by beating them 5-1, forcing this Game 7. Now, outside of some great hockey games being played, the story of this year's playoffs seemed to be that of the NHL referees. From missed calls to non-calls to blatant calls, the inconsistency of the black and white is more evident this year unlike any other. We have had games where a missed call on the ice resulted in a one-game suspension with the NHL Rules Committee and vice versa. With the Stanley Cup Finals taking center stage with their first Game 7 in 8 years, they had to get things right. The referees for tomorrow night's Game 7 will be that of the same as the ones in Game 6, so they did get it right, folks. Gord Dwyer and Chris Rooney, which are the lesser of the two evils, as their missed calls were not as egregious as the other two referees, which ultimately determined a goal and a game. Now, the NHL does not want the refs taking center stage in Game 7s. Instead, it should be the players, as the Boston Bruins look to win the Stanley Cup tomorrow night at home, Wednesday night. Face-off at 8:23, and the game is on NBC. As we all know by now, Red Sox legend and future Hall of Famer David Ortiz was shot point-blank Sunday night in his native homeland, the Dominican Republic. Now, since then, Big Papi has been flown back up here to Boston to begin his road to rehabilitation. He underwent exploratory surgery this morning at Mass General and is now listed in stable condition. He is sitting upright and talking per his wife. Now, as Ortiz recovers, the investigation now begins with so many questions. David Ortiz's assistant, Leo Lopez, swears that there's no doubt that this was an attempted murder by that of a hitman. So now more questions begin to unfold as to why. As of right now, the authorities have one man in custody, that of the shooter, while another suspect is being sought. Ortiz was shot in the back of a roadside disco where the gunman was able to approach him willingly. Now, video surveillance capturing the whole thing has taken the internet by storm. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty graphic, folks. Prayers are coming in from all over the sports world. Last night at Yankee Stadium, they lit up a sign with both the Red Sox and the Yankees logos being together, saying, "Together, we are one." And meanwhile, at Fenway Park, they held a moment of reflection before the game as a tribute to their all-star slugger, wishing them a speedy recovery. And speaking of which, us here at What a Day do wish David Ortiz, Big Papi, a healthy and speedy recovery as well. Speaking of the Red Sox, they moved up tomorrow's start time for tomorrow's game from 7:10 to 4:10. That's right, a 3-hour difference, folks. Their last game against the Rangers. It's an effort to not impede with the Bruins Game 7 Stanley Cup Final over on the other side of town at the TD Garden. No doubt Boston, a busy place again tomorrow night. And can you believe this week will mark 25 years since the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman? June 12th, to be exact, is the date in which both Nicole and Ron were found stabbed to death. Now, days later, on June 17th, 1994, prosecutors ordered Simpson to surrender, but instead he fled to White Ford Bronco with his friend Al Cowlings, leading police on a slow speed chase that brought Southern California's freeways to a standstill and drew a network television audience of 95 million Americans. Unbelievable. I remember that day like it was yesterday. Simpson eventually surrendered and was arrested, but it wasn't until 16 months later, on October 3rd, 1995, that Simpson was acquitted on all murder charges. Okay, finally some good news to report. You may want to hold off on buying some gas for the autos as prices are set to drop. Get a load of this. Almost 15 cents per gallon, folks. That's according to AAA. This is all due in part to an almost 18% drop in crude oil prices. There has been a steady decline over gas prices over the past few weeks. They've been down 7 cents or so, and you can see that reflection at the pump. Now look for the prices to come down even further during the coming weeks. Not bad. All right, want to give finally a What a Day shout out to New England Fan Fest. Joe Bruin and Scott Wilder. A great weekend of pro wrestling and Hall of Fame inductees took place. I also want to thank Brutus the Barbaric Beefcake for his shout out. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. And of course, Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine for their generosity. And of course, I would not be remiss if I didn't mention my mentor, Bill Apter, with a hearty and heartfelt congratulations on being inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. All right, that's going to do for me on this Taco Tuesday, everybody. Hope everyone has a great evening. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page, my YouTube page at Joe Lowry What a Day. That's going to do for me. Happy Taco Tuesday, folks. I'm Joe Lowry. What a day.